Everything involves AI. This 2025.
Hello and welcome. Yes, that was an actual Zapier customer named Joe Zappy, and we did not make that up. He was just made for the role. Welcome, everybody, to our AI Agents and Workflows webinar. Over 11,000 of you signed up for today's webinar, and we are just floored by the amount of interest. We do have quite the show in store for you today. My name is Jane Zhang. I am on Zapier's product marketing team working on AI, and I'm so excited to be your host for today. I'm coming to you from Boston, and I would love to hear where you are tuning in from. Let us know in the chat. Couple housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded, and we will email you the recording after the webinar. We'll have time for a live product Q&A, so throughout the webinar, go ahead and enter your questions in the Q&A tab at any time. You can also upvote questions from other attendees, and that'll help us prioritize them. Make sure to drop your questions in the Q&A box and not the chat so it doesn't get lost. If you run into any technical issues, simply refresh your page. That usually solves everything. We recommend using Google Chrome as your browser. During the demos, we recommend maximizing your window and closing the chat sidebar so you can see all the details clearly. If you like today's session, be sure to check out our next AI webinar with Marcus Sato from remote.com. He'll be walking through his incredible IT help desk workflow that saves their team over $500,000 per year. Click the link on your screen to register. Today, you're going to hear from these fine folks from across Zapier's team, including Noah and Kyle from our workflow product team, Anna Marie from Agents, and Danielle from our templates team. I'm going to kick us off with an intro to AI orchestration. Then we'll dive into all of the exciting product updates across Zapier with a focus on AI workflows and AI agents. In a moment, you're going to see a poll pop up on your screen. I'd love to know if you've tried out the AI by Zapier step or built a Zapier agent. Let us know. And after our product updates, you'll hear from a few customers using AI in action. If you're new to AI or looking for different ways to get started, Danielle will show you a few different places to find inspiration and templates. And that'll bring us to the Q&A. All right, let's see what y'all said in the poll. Wow, it looks like most of you have not tried AI by Zapier or agents yet, so you are definitely in the right place because we're going to show you both and a lot more today. All right, let's dive in. So Zapier was started with a simple belief. We believe that we're humans who think that computers should do more work for us. And with AI, we're basically at that reality. Since 2023, over 1 million customers like you have already been using AI and Zapier together to delegate over 200 million tasks. That's a lot of work. And we've seen you integrate your everyday apps like HubSpot, Salesforce, and MailChimp with ChatGPT or one of our 300 plus AI apps to do things like personalize emails, analyze data, automate support, and a whole lot more. We at Zapier have also transformed our operations with AI. Every one of our teams, from sales to support to marketing to engineering, has leveraged AI to get more work done and free up their teams to do more strategic, creative, and human work. In fact, almost 90% of Zapier staff use AI daily for their work. According to a Microsoft study, 82% of leaders plan to hire AI agents at their companies in the next 18 months. But only 24% have deployed AI company-wide. And that's where Zapier comes in. We offer the most connected AI orchestration platform for everyone, and especially for companies ready to jump in and embrace AI today. And that's because Zapier makes AI orchestration accessible for everyone, not just technical teams. Our platform lets you put AI to work by building powerful workflows without code, connecting nearly 8,000 work apps. We bring you all the automation tools you need under one roof, from data tables to interfaces to AI logic. And for enterprises, know that you can scale confidently with tools to keep your company data safe while letting your team have the freedom to innovate. Let's take a look at how all this comes to life in Zapier's latest product updates. In a moment, you're going to hear from our lovely product managers, and they're going to show you some of our major updates in action. Noah will walk you through an all-new AI by Zapier experience. Anna Marie will show you how to use the new agent step in a Zap. And Kyle will show you how to use global variables in your Zaps. And then we'll also share some mighty updates in the workflow editor. First up, here is Noah with AI by Zapier.
Hey y'all, my name is Noah and I'm on the workflow team at Zapier. Today I'm super excited to show off some of the great new features we recently launched for AI by Zapier that makes it easier to build AI-powered workflows. I'm going to start by showing you how some of them work and then show you how it all comes together. So to start, we've got some slight redesigns to our app picker that introduces these new categories on the left, one of which is AI. Here you can see a bunch of new quick actions for AI by Zapier that give you pre-written prompts that make it easy to get started, find use cases for ways you can bring AI into your Zaps, and more. I'm going to start with a custom prompt here, which opens up the new and improved prompt builder. There's a whole lot of features packed in here, so I'm going to walk through. First off, you can choose your build mode. I'm in the custom prompt mode right now, but here you'll see the quick actions again, and you can also see your previous prompts. So if you've built other AI by Zapier steps, you can go here and you can actually pull those directly into the Zap. Great for reusing things once you've tested them and made sure they work great. We've also made it possible to choose different models and AI providers. By default, we set it to GPT-4o Mini, and you can use Zapier's connected account, which means that you don't have to pay any extra cost beyond the cost of a normal task. We've also added support for Gemini 2.0 Flash and Flash Lite, also provided by Zapier. Or if you want, you can use your own authentication and accounts to connect to Anthropic, use different models from OpenAI or Azure OpenAI. I'm going to continue to use the GPT-4o Mini. And the next thing you'll do here is choose your input fields. So in my case, I've got the trigger set up to pull in feedback that we receive from customers. And this comes in as just a free text field. And one of my favorite uses for AI is to extract structured data from a chunk of text. So I'll set my input field to be the content. And I'm going to go and I'm going to pull in the content of the comment. I could map that into the prompt as well. I could pull in the content here, but to keep things nice and simple and organized, I use the input field. You can have as many input fields as you want, and also put stuff in the prompt. Just like before, you can start with a really simple prompt. And so I'm going to just drop something in that says to analyze the note to extract different data. And it's pretty simple. We've got this great new feature to help evaluate the strength of your prompt. It's probably not going to look very good right now. Yep, it's poor, as expected. But one of the greatest parts of this new experience is that you can actually now test and build your prompts side by side. Know that when you're building prompts and building these AI apps, testing is a really important part of the process. And so now you can do that all together in one place. So I'm going to click Generate a Preview. And it's giving me a chunk of stuff here. It doesn't look quite right, so I'm going to say that this is not my expected output. And here I can provide some feedback. So I'm going to say, gets a little small, but I'm going to say to return these as different fields, only include the ones that I want. I also wanted to analyze the sentiment and determine if the customer is on a company email or a free domain. So I will submit these to revise the prompt. And not only is it improving the prompt here, but it will also generate output fields for me so that I can go and map those out to later steps of this app. I see this great diff view where I can see what was added and if anything was removed or changed. It's adding all of the different output fields that I asked for. That looks good. So I will click yes, I want to accept those changes. If I change my mind, I can always go back and I can actually click through the different versions, which is always nice so that you never lose your work if you made a change that you don't want. So now I'll go and test this again. And perfect, we're looking good. So I'll give that a thumbs up, let it know I did a good job. So that is how you can use the new prompt builder to create AI by Zapier steps. Next, I'm going to show you how to pull all this stuff together into a pretty interesting workflow. So over here, I've got the same start to my Zap, a new note and product board. I've got my AI step to analyze and extract the content. And I want to actually do some different stuff depending on the sentiment. So the AI by Zapier step is analyzing the sentiment. And if it's positive, I'm going to go and just post the kudos in a Slack channel. But if it's negative, I want to follow up with this customer and reach out to see if they would like to have an interview. And so over here, I have it set up to go and write a user research email. Pull this up so you can see. I've already built this out, so you don't need to watch me do it again. One of the things I'm doing here is using our new global variables feature so that I can put it in my Calendly link. I have that saved as a variable so that I can use it easily across multiple Zaps. And the next step is to send an email. I have it right now set to create a draft, but I actually want to just go ahead and send that email. And so I will go change this to be send an email. I'll set that up later, but the thing that I really wanted to do is I don't want to actually automatically send an email every time. I want to have a chance to review the email that's been written and also just determine if this is someone that I want to speak to. So here's where I can add a great new human in the loop feature that is available in the Slack app, which is to send an approval action. So I can go down and find the request approval action. And here I can provide a message saying, let's say, new interview opportunity. I'll include some information from the, I'll include the content, the comments, and I'll also include, here's the email to send. Here I'll go pull the email that was written by the second step. And I'll say, would you like me to send this email? I'm going to go send it to my testing channel. And I want to have a decline button, so I'll set that to yes. What this does is it will send a message to Slack with buttons that I can use to approve or decline, which will then decide whether the Zap continues or not. So got that set up. There's a whole bunch of configuration options here. You can configure the text of the button and do all sorts of stuff, but I'm going to go pretty basic, and let's test this. Over in Slack, I've got my message, so I can see the customer's comment. I see the email that was drafted up, and it all looks good. So I can click approve, and that message then goes to Zapier so that the Zap would continue. Back in the editor, because I'm still editing my Zap, I'm not going to see any of that information just yet. That will show up when the Zap actually runs. But now I can go on and I can finish setting up my email step. I can use the subject line from my email writing step. I'll pull in the email content, and I will know that I have reviewed this and it looks good. And so now in the future, I get to have that little eye on how AI is working, make sure everything looks good, and have a whole lot of confidence that my workflow is working the way I want it to. So that's what I got. Thank you very much, and excited to see what you all build.
Awesome. Thank you, Noah. I'm super jazzed by this new experience. And for those of you watching, we will be sending you the recording afterwards so you can watch at your own pace and you can slow it down and watch step by step. So now you might be wondering, what is the difference between using AI by Zapier versus a standard AI app step, like a ChatGPT step or an Anthropic step? Here's a few key differences I want to call out. First, with AI by Zapier, you get the all-new Prompt Builder Assistant that Noah just showed you, which includes pre-built templates for quick actions, side-by-side testing, smart output fields, prompt versions, and saved prompts. All of this helps you get to the perfect prompt faster so you can get the exact output you need from the AI. Second, you can now bring your own API key to use AI by Zapier. That means you can choose the provider and the model you prefer, or the one that's approved by your company, whether it's a GPT model, Anthropic, Gemini, or Azure OpenAI. And now you get the best of both worlds, choose your own model, and you get the prompt assistant. On the flip side, if you don't want to use your own API key, you can use GPT-4o Mini or either of the Gemini 2.0 Flash models for free. Note that when we say free, we mean that Zapier pays for your API key, but that the AI by Zapier step does count towards your regular tasks. One use case where you would use the standard ChatGPT step is if you need to generate images using DALL-E. But if you're working with standard text, or even if you need to analyze images, audio, or video, AI by Zapier is the way to go. Now, let's move on to our brand new agent step. You can now call a Zapier agent directly from your workflow. Anna Marie is going to demo this for us and then walk us through what makes agents magical. Here is Anna Marie.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna Marie Clifton, Director of Product of AI and Agents here at Zapier. And I'm here today to show you about how you can bring an agent into your Zap. So to demo this use case, I have created this lead capture and routing system in Zapier Canvas. So you can see I have an interface to capture leads, a table for those leads to get populated, a Zap that triggers off that table, and then calls an agent. So you can see here in my commercial real estate interest form, on my interface here, I can see if a customer is interested in renting or buying, which will populate this table and kick off this Zap. So for this Zap, I have two paths. On the one hand, if a customer just wants to rent, I'm going to send a message straight away to Slack, to my team. Just a straightforward deterministic Zap. New table record, Slack message. In the case that I have a customer that is looking to buy, I want to do something a little bit more flexible. I want to bring some more agentic power to the system. So I have created an agent here to take on some of that workflow and then pass data back to my Zap to then send to Slack. So let's see how this works in practice. So let's say I'm Mike Knoop and I am looking to rent. This lead will be captured in this table and then kick off this Zap, which will then go down this path deterministically to land on this Slack alert and let my team know Mike Knoop wants to rent. Who can take this? Now, let's go back through and do this again. Let's say I'm Wade Foster. I'm looking to buy, and I'm interested in that Jackson Trail property, for instance. So I'll go ahead and submit this lead. And you can see that it's on my table now and is kicking off a Zap going down the buy path, which will go to my Zapier agent. So let's go look at our agent. Over here in Zapier Agents, you can see here we have the trigger via Zap trigger set up. So my agent is listening for information coming from that Zap to then kick off this agentic workflow. So in this workflow, I have a lead research and routing agent for inspecting new leads. I want it to follow the sequence of steps. First, I want it to do a Google search for information about my lead. Who is this Wade Foster anyway? And get a sense of the company they work for, maybe how many employees, or things that might be relevant for their real estate needs. Next, I want to determine if they're talking about a specific property. And if so, I want them to try to figure out who is the right realtor to follow up with this lead. So here I have a property listings table that I reference with a lot of properties on it. And I want to see if my agent can help figure out which realtor is relevant for which property. Then I want to have my agent look up a Slack ID for that realtor and compose a Slack message for that lead, sending that back to the Zap to post. So you can see here that indeed, Anna Marie Clifton, I wanted to bring to your attention that Wade Foster, CEO and co-founder of Zapier, is interested in the Jackson Trail property. So a couple things I want to highlight here. If you notice, if you look at the Jackson Trail, so we have a couple instances of Jackson here, and the agent is able to figure out from all of this information, which property is this customer talking about? What is the Jackson Trail property? The agent's able to figure out, like, oh, you're talking about 17840 Jackson Trail, and that is Anna Marie. Next, the agent is able to figure out how to look up Anna Marie in Slack and find her Slack handle, and as well as run a Google search. So this whole thing allows my agent to operate more flexibly with a little bit more agentic power while still controlling the parts of my system that I want to run exactly the same way, very predictably every time. This allows me to add more flexibility and power while still maintaining control and precision over my workflows. Thanks so much. All right, awesome. So in that demo, you saw how you can bring an agent into a Zap, but I want to spend a moment talking about the question on everyone's mind: what even is an agent? How is an agent different from AI generally? So when we think about agents, we think about AI that has a goal, access to tools, and the ability to decide how to use those tools to accomplish that goal. So in the use case I just walked you through, you saw that the goal for that agent was to find information on the web and find the right person to tag in a Slack message. The access to tools that it had was searching the web, doing data analysis over a Zapier table, and using the Slack ID lookup tool. And then the ability to decide how to use those tools is where the magic and flexibility really shines. So in this case, it did a web search, and then it figured out the name to use from that table analysis very flexibly. And then it figured out how to map the field for that tool. So the name to put into that full name field for lookup was not predefined. I didn't have to field map in advance. I just told the agent, figure it out as you go. And the agent was able to generate the correct value for that field. So I didn't have to do any field mapping in advance. So when you're thinking about agents and workflows, next slide here. Let's see. So you want to think about when to use an automated workflow and when to use AI agents. You can do a lot of the same things with both. Automated workflows are great for predictable standard actions. So things that you want to have a lot of control over and use the same way every time. You want it to run exactly the same, more deterministically. And it's really great for, again, those very predictable actions like creating documents or sending messages. AI agents, on the other hand, are great for creative and complex tasks. So they excel at research-heavy tasks. They can do things like search the web. You can describe what you want it to do in natural language and give it access to tools. And then the agent can decide how to use those tools and how to map the fields at runtime so that you get a lot of flexibility without having to constrain the system upfront. You can also bundle up a bunch of tasks into one agent and have it do all of that work together. Then you can bring agents and workflows together in order to get the best of both worlds, both the flexibility from your agent and the reliability from your automated workflow. So with that, we'll talk a little bit about some other exciting things going on at Zapier. You saw earlier global variables was mentioned by Noah. Now we'll hand it over to Kyle to give you a walkthrough of the global variables feature.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kyle Morrow, and I'm a product manager here at Zapier. I'm going to walk you through a couple of features that we've recently released that will help you scale your usage of Zapier. The two features are called Find and Replace and Global Variables. They both are focused around the concept of helping you bulk update your Zaps. So the first one that we'll take a look at is Find and Replace. So if I come into a Zap, you'll see that we have this new search option up here on the left, and you can see that I can find a value. And so this allows me to easily search static text or any of my map values across the entire Zap. So if I open up the plus button here, then I can see, let's look for deal information and the deal description. And you can see that I have 3 instances of that value in the Zap, and I can quickly toggle through those, and you'll see the right sidebar is updating here so that I can quickly go directly to where those instances of that value are. Now, if I want to bulk update those, I can select a new value. I can either type something in, or I can select a new value here. And let's say we'll change it to deal name. I can then go through and replace those each one by one, or I can replace all. So I'll just quickly replace all. And everywhere where that original value was used has been replaced by the new value that I've selected. And so that's a really quick and easy way for you to come in and bulk update values across an entire Zap. The other feature that I want to talk through is global variables. So let's jump into a new Zap here. Slide myself up there a little bit. So with global variables, this allows you to easily create values and update them across apps, not just within apps. So you'll now see that there's this new variables button here in the lower left on the toolbar. And if I come in here, I could see a bunch of variables that have been made within my account. And if I want to create a new variable, I can come in here, I give the variable a name, let's say help desk email. And you can see that I've already named a variable that, so I can't use that one again. So let's say support email. And then I can choose what type. And so if I want to do email, then I'll come in here and I'll say support@zapier.com. And then I can save that variable. You'll see here it is right here at the top. So now I have this variable that I can use in any of my Zaps within any step of my Zap. So if I were to come into a step here, let's say this Slack message, let's grab this one, and I were to write a message, I would say, please let us know if you have any questions. You can send them to, and then if I want to use that new variable I created with the email address, all I have to do is come into the swing out here and select the variables tab, and you'll see that support email is right there, and I can select it. So I can quickly select that value and use that in any one of my steps in any one of my Zaps. And then if I ever want to change that value in the future, all I have to do is come back into my variables section here and then edit the variable, and I can change what values associated with it. Say it's support 2 here that I want to change it to because we've changed our support email address in the future, and I want to save that. That variable will now be updated. You can see the value's been updated. And then everywhere where that variable has been used in any step in any of my Zaps will all be updated at the same time. So this makes it very easy to manage values across a variety of Zap or a variety of steps and a variety of Zaps. So whether that's email addresses, whether that's entire response messages, I could put this entire thing into a global variable and use that again. It just makes it really easy to reuse values over and over again. So between these two features, we hope it'll really help you to manage bulk updating your values across all of your Zaps and within your Zaps. Please give them a try and let us know what you think. Thanks.
Oh, Noah, looks like you're muted. Proof that we're not AI, everybody.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you. Here I am, actually live, not recorded. I'll try to speak a little bit slower this time. Sorry for packing all that information in, but definitely happy to answer any questions in the Q&A at the end. So I just have a few more product updates I want to share for the workflow product. The first one is today we are introducing the ability to call a function from a Zap. If you're not aware, Functions is Zapier's new code-based workflow product, which allows you to write custom Python code that can integrate with any of the 8,000 apps on Zapier. With Functions, you can build completely independent code-based workflows that have their own triggers. And now, with this integration, you can actually connect those code workflows to your Zaps. To use this, you'll just go to the Zap editor, add a Functions by Zapier action, select Call a Function, and then you can either create a new one or use an existing function that has the start function trigger. If you've been around Zapier for a while, you can think of these as kind of supercharged, reusable code steps. By using functions in your Zaps, you have access to Python libraries, you can create more complex code-based logic, and also use secrets for secure credential management. These functions can also be reused across multiple Zaps, which helps ensure consistency and allows you to manage complex workflow logic all in one place. This feature is available to anyone who's using Functions right now, which is in closed beta. So if you're not already a Functions user, you can sign up for that closed beta at zapier.com/functions. Next up, we have a small but mighty update that addresses one of our most common feature requests, the ability to use a previous Zap run as a trigger sample. To use this feature, you'll just open up any Zap that has previously run, find the run that you want to use, and choose Use as Trigger Sample. This will allow you to build your Zap using this trigger event, which is especially helpful for troubleshooting runs or making edits when a regular trigger sample might be missing certain fields. I know it's really common for folks to have run into this, and I'm really excited about this new feature to make it easier. This feature is currently available to all Zapier accounts. And last, we have one more much requested improvement to Zap testing on the way, which is the ability to run a complete end-to-end test of a Zap before publishing. This will make it easier to see how your entire Zap runs for a given trigger event, which is especially useful when building Zaps with complex logic or chaining together multiple AI steps. It's also a great way to test Zaps that call agents or functions like we saw earlier, or that use the new Slack request approval action for human-in-the-loop controls. This will be coming later this month to all Zapier accounts. And now I'm going to pass it over to Danielle to see how customers are using AI in action. Thanks.
Everyone, Danielle from Zapier's product marketing team, and I wanted to walk you through how some folks are using AI orchestration in real life, and more importantly, how you can get started quickly and easily. We'll look at a few inspiring real-world examples and some tools and templates to make everything we shared today easy to get started with. First, though, we're going to hear from a couple of customers.
Danielle, sorry, everyone. I know everyone's been super patient with us. It's technology. Your audio is cutting out just a little bit. Just wanted to let you know. So if you want to try a different audio mechanism or maybe just refresh or something like that, I think everyone would really appreciate it. And again, not AI here, just trying to make it work, everyone. So thank you for your patience. We appreciate it.
Alicia, thanks for jumping on. Can you give me a thumbs up if that's better? Okay. I'm going to take that as it is. I hope that it is. Perfect. Definitely not AI, all right. Let's roll the videos from. First, we'll hear from Ben from Contractor Appointments.
In general, we're handling maybe between like 300 to 600 leads a day as far as new inbound leads that are requesting an estimate, and we're trying to get them scheduled. I remember the days when we were only buying like 30 leads a day, and I was manually doing all of the work, and the inboxes would fill up to I'd have like 2,000 messages on a Monday morning, and I'd be like, okay, we gotta get through this. And now it goes so much faster, and I still only have a team of 2 that are managing those text messages, but we handle like 10 times, 20 times the volume.
That's such a good story. I love that one. And next up, we'll hear from Jacob at Vendasta.
Through implementing AI into our automations, especially when we're looking at call transcripts, we're really able to focus on saving those SDRs around 15 minutes per call, because we're able to program those AI's steps to focus on exactly what we want it to.
Worked with Jacob for a really long time, and it's inspiring to see how much he's accomplished in such a short time with AI. So over to the workflow gallery. I saw a lot of comments coming through that were asking about different use cases. Maybe you're a realtor or legal or something else that I'm completely missing. I'm really excited to share with you our brand new workflow gallery, which we built because folks were constantly asking us, what are other people like me doing with Zapier and AI? What's working for teams like mine? And they wanted to view by things like app, like team, even industry. So this gallery is our answer. Think of it like show and tell for automation. In it, you will find featured workflows and curated collections for categories like RevOps, popular AI productivity, event management, and more. Within each workflow, you'll see an embedded canvas so that you can see the exact steps behind each workflow, and then descriptions of the impact, the problem that folks are solving, how it works, as well as tips and tricks from the builder. This is very much built by builders for builders, and we're really excited about it. The other thing I want to flag is many of these come with pre-built templates to help you get started really fast. Here's one that I particularly love, built by our own enablement manager at Zapier. It's all about call coaching and giving reps really curated AI feedback for every single call that happens, as well as flagging maybe calls that should be viewed by a manager because they didn't quite hit the criteria. Now, let's talk about templates. We have two different types of templates here. First up is agent templates, where one click gives you a fully functioning agent right within your account. And the second is AI workflow templates. Now, we've got a curated gallery of AI templates ready to go for you. And this is within our broader gallery, but these are all of the really high impact AI ones. Now, I'm going to go off script here a little bit based on some things I saw in the comments. I'm going to walk you through a specific template, but I wanted to flag one in particular that I think might be interesting and a little bit more beginner level than the one I'll dive into in a moment. And that's our Slack thread summarizer. I think we've all been in situations where there's a thread that's maybe 70 messages long and we just need the gist. This is a really great example of a template that you can use to solve a problem that's really high impact. So if I was to click try this template, it would drop right into my account. It comes with all of the field mapping already done. And then if I dive into this app, one of the things I really love about these templates in particular is that all of the fields come mapped. And so really all you have to do is tweak it and then publish. So you can see I use this and it comes with the prompt already built in. Those fields are mapped. It's ready to go. Now I'm going to go back on script here and share the one that I wanted to share with you initially, which is our IT help desk template. And I'm really, really excited about this template because it is showing some pretty awesome metrics for some great teams. This is inspired by Marcus Sato from the remote team. And there's this great quote from him. His 3-person IT team performs like a team of 10. He's the speaker at our next webinar on May 28th. We're seeing teams deflect up to 28% of tickets that are incoming using this template. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do a live demo. So I'll click try it. This is just going to take a minute to load. And in the meantime, I'll show you how it works behind the scenes. So here's what you'll see in Slack. This template is fully powered out of your Slack, which is where teams are already working. When someone comes in and asks a question, there's a custom chatbot behind the scenes that is trained on all of your knowledge. And the chatbot will say, okay, do we have the answer to this? Yes or no. If it doesn't have the answer, all good. It'll just let the person in the thread know that it doesn't know the answer. And then it will kick off a triage process. And all of this is happening right out of IT teams' backends. Their ticketing tools like a Jira or a ClickUp, whatever your team uses, it's really easy to swap in and out. And what makes this really powerful is after your team member and your IT team member go back and forth in threads, we'll then look at the thread and we'll capture any knowledge that was shared. And so in this case, I shared with Jane that she just needs to request access in Okta to get access to HubSpot. Ticket is marked as completed. We're all good. But the power of that is that next time someone asks a question, hi, can I please have access to HubSpot? The bot has the answer. You can request access through Okta. Now, this should have dropped into my account. This is very much on the expert level side of things, which is why I wanted to show you that straightforward example earlier with just the single zap. But that being said, when you use this template, you get a full solution right out of the box that you can customize and tweak or not customize. It works right away regardless. A couple of things that are really powerful about this. One is that it is running off of a chatbot, like I mentioned earlier. And if I look at this chatbot, you can tweak the prompt. As an example, I saw one team tweak the prompt to say, only respond with links, don't respond with like contextual information. And then you can also add in custom knowledge sources as well. So just one more way to bring AI into your Zaps in a really meaningful way. And here is that Zap that I mentioned earlier, which rolls up everything in the thread that's using AI by Zapier. So we've got 2 different AI products right within one template. So today we have seen real AI orchestration in the wild, how simple, powerful workflows can drive big results, and then how the workflow gallery and templates can help you skip the guesswork. I highly encourage you to browse the workflow gallery, try a few templates, and reach out if you have any and all questions. And with that, over to Jane.
Thank you so much, Danielle. All right, I'm going to invite Noah and Anna Marie back here on stage as well, so we can kick off our Q&A. We've got a ton of questions coming in here. Keep them coming, and keep upvoting questions that you want to hear about, so we can prioritize them. All right, let's see. Let's dive in as we wait for Noah to join the stage. Let's take a question about agents. All right, Anna Marie, what's the difference between using a typical AI step in a Zap versus an agent? Like, what are some of the cool things that agents can do?
Totally. Okay, so I called this out a little bit in the slide deck here, but the key thing is that agents operate more flexibly. And the key thing about flexibility is that you can give your agent access to tools without having to predefine how it will use those tools, which fields to map across those actions, etc. In addition to that, there's a couple really exciting features that I demoed, little subtle, but we have a general web search, web browsing, where you can give it a URL and it can navigate to that URL, or you can just give it a Google search ability. So that's unique to agents right now. And then additionally, we have, on top of our 7,000 plus integrations that have 35,000 plus actions, we've built out some really advanced data integration functionality specifically for AI that is available in agents today. And that allows you to do really flexible search across your data. I demonstrated using the Zapier tables data integration for that, but we have many apps that we support data integrations for this advanced AI search. And I've linked the article in a couple of those questions that'll show you which apps support that advanced AI search functionality. So those are a couple of things that are uniquely available in agents today. But the key thing here is that agents allow you to just describe how you want the flow to work, and then the agent will figure out when the trigger happens, how to map the fields, how to send data to the different tools, which tools to use. So you don't have to build out a bunch of complex paths, and you don't have to do a bunch of complex field mapping for things that you're comfortable letting your agent do.
Amazing. We've got a question here from Jeannie about plans and pricing. She asked, what account level do you have to purchase for all of these features and things we walked through today? So I thought we could each go over, maybe Noah, you can go over AI by Zapier pricing. Agents, or Anna Marie, you can talk through agents pricing. And Danielle, if you could give a little bit of plan info on our templates, that'd be great. Let's start with Noah.
Yeah, so AI by Zapier is available for anyone on a pro or professional account and up. And as Jane mentioned earlier, if you're using any of the Zapier provided connections, which we have for OpenAI and Google Gemini, certain models, those tasks just cost regular tasks. There's no extra cost to use that integration. And of course, you can also use your own integrations and pay for your own usage that way.
And then when it comes to agents, agents is a separate add-on. So we do have a free tier that gives you access to some activities per month. Activities are essentially any actions, tool calls, things like that, similar to the way a Zapier Zap would work with tasks. And so you have some activities in the free plan, and then you can upgrade to Pro for more activities or Advanced for even more activities. And again, that is all a separate add-on plan for your account.
And my answer is really easy. For templates, there's no extra cost. You just need to have the right plan based on the tools that are in the template. So for example, if you don't have enough chatbots in your plan left, then you might need to add more to be able to use a template, but it's just whatever is included in your plan.
Yeah, the great thing is you can experiment with most of our AI tools for free on a free Zapier plan. So go ahead and start building. And once you run into kind of usage, you can always upgrade. We've got probably more like a feature request from Seth than a question. But for Noah, is there a Teams approval function for companies that don't use Slack? Maybe is that on our roadmap?
Not yet, but definitely something we're looking into. I know this has come up before, and so I can't speak specifically to when that will be coming, but I'll make sure to pass it along to the team that works on that integration.
Awesome. All right, question for AMC from Lauren. Can Zapier agents be directed to browse the web or operate our computers? And this is a good opportunity to talk about our Chrome extension.
Absolutely. So we have a couple features that support this. So first of all, you can instruct your agent to gather information from the web, either through a search or through navigating directly to a website. And that's useful for when you're setting up a background automation to run in the background. But if you want to use your agent with you side by side, we have a Chrome extension that allows you to open it up on the side panel and either just talk with your agent or kick off an on-demand behavior to do something based on the page. Like potentially you're looking at a customer's web page and you have a workflow you want to run that will kick off outreach. And so you can run that directly from the Chrome extension by looking at the page that you're on. In terms of browser use or operator style, things like that, if that's something that you're interested in, I encourage you to hop over to our product and submit some feedback, and we'd love to hear from you.
Amazing. Okay, question for Noah here from Chris. This is about global variables. Do global variables span your entire Zapier account or only that particular Zap?
Yes, they span your entire Zapier account. So it's a great way to be able to easily make changes across a bunch of Zaps. If you have common values like an email address or a Calendly link like I've used, and you want to just make sure that that's consistent, and if it changes, update in one place, that's exactly what global variables is for.
Amazing. Thanks, Noah. All right, I'm going to toss this one to AMC to talk a little bit about how Zapier agents is different than some of the other agents in the market.
Yeah, so the two key things I want to highlight here. First of all, Zapier Agents is built entirely on natural language. So when you type in what you want the agent to do, it's not doing something in the background to turn that into some other workflow generated system. That is the system. So it gives you a much better understanding of how the agent is going to operate. And it's much easier to hit that test button, see how the agent's thinking through things, and navigate back and forth again with natural language. So what we're thinking about with Zapier Agents is how do we open up the total audience that can be using these incredibly powerful tools without having to learn all of some of the complexities of mapping fields or thinking about like constructing the nodes and the graphs and all of that. So really, really focused on that ease of use and that functionality there. The other key thing is across our suite of integrations, we offer over 7,000 applications with over 35,000 actions that your agent can do in those applications. So we are the absolute most connected in any of the agents that exist in the world right now. And then lastly, being able to mix and match between your agents and your workflows allows you to take advantage of that flexibility, all that natural language programming with a little bit more control around pieces that you want to have a little more control around. So really kind of allowing you to set that slider at every part of your workflow where you want flexibility and where you want control.
Awesome. Thanks, MC. All right, we've got a question here. The questions are moving around a lot, but essentially it was a question for Noah, I believe, and possibly MC. Can you use functions to trigger or to use MCP? And let me try to dig up the question here. Can functions be used to invoke MCP servers?
You're asking if Zapier has an MCP client that can invoke an MCP action in an MCP server and whether functions would be the way to do that or not. I think that's the question. Noah, do you want to take this?
Yeah, right now, I believe you would not use functions to invoke MCP servers. You would use functions to just connect with any of the existing integrations or general APIs. But we do have the new Zapier MCP product that allows you to connect any of the Zapier apps and integrations as to other agent product or anything else that supports MCP servers. But yeah, MCP is not specifically supported in functions. I don't believe so, at least.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Way. Yeah.
I think the key thing to call out here for those, we also just did an MCP based webinar. So there's some more content you can find on our YouTube channel about that. So the couple key things to note here on MCP for the audience that's interested. Zapier offers a hosted MCP server, which is actually the only MCP server on the market that supports streamable HTTP and OAuth. So really not only the most integrations, but also the most advanced and usable server. MCP is both a server and a client protocol. And so we do not currently have a Zapier MCP client that allows you to call other MCPs from within the Zapier ecosystem. We have a server that allows you to take all the Zapier integrations that you might want outside of the ecosystem. So you can access your Zapier goodness wherever you go.
Cool. All right, great. Okay, this next question is about tips for field mapping. So a question from Khan. It's one of the most time-consuming things about building Zaps are field mapping, and especially when you need to create the same Zap for multiple accounts. So would love for Noah to talk a little bit about Copilot in the editor, and AMC, if you could speak to how easy it is to map fields and agents, that would be great.
Great. Yeah, I love this question, and totally with you. It can definitely get a little cumbersome, especially when you have steps with a lot of fields. I think one big area that we've been working on to make this easier is the integrated AI Copilot in the editor. And this is going to work better the more context you give it to describe what exactly you want that field to, or that step to do. The more instructions you pass, the better job it's going to do at mapping those fields. And we've got a bunch of things that we're working on to make that even easier to use and also more accurate. We're working on improving the accuracy all the time. And so if you haven't tried that in a while, I definitely recommend going and giving the AI assistant Copilot in the Zap editor a shot. Yeah, I'll pass to AMC.
Yeah, a huge plus one. I think one of the things to think about with Zapier and AI is we are integrating AI everywhere in our product. So with the agent product, the Zapier does the field mapping at runtime for you. With the Copilot in the Zap editor, we have AI that helps walk you through how to set up the field mapping for yourself. And both of those are really powerful features. Sometimes the runtime field mapping is everything that you want and need. And sometimes you need a little bit more control, and it's helpful to have AI give you a hand along the way. So I think they're both really great features that can help get you where you're going. And we absolutely want to help use AI to make field mapping be a breeze.
Totally. All right, we've got a question from Kevin on any guidelines for which AI model to select when. I'd love to hear everyone's opinion on this. As a non-technical user, I typically will go to Claude for anything writing related. I find Claude to be the best writer. Gemini, I've heard, is great for visual analysis. And then ChatGPT for kind of general, any kind of general content generation or like data analysis. But that's kind of on a provider level. Yeah, what are y'all's thoughts on models and providers, when to use which? Whoever wants to jump in.
I'll hop in here. It's such an interesting question because every time you see a post come out of like, here's how you want to use these models and these other models, a week later there's new models. So there's always new things to incorporate. I think that generally what I do is when I want to do something, I do a quick Google search on what's the latest model, like what's the best model for creative writing right now. And so I often will just like update what I think by sourcing from the internet. I typically follow, Jane, your perspective as well, where I default to ChatGPT for data analysis, for synthetic data generation, things like that. I also prefer ChatGPT or DALL-E for image generation. And then I use Claude for more creative writing, or any kind of writing where I want it to be consumed not just by myself, but I'm thinking about something that might be customer facing, or I really want to compose a really excellent Slack message. So that's how I think about it. More data analysis, image generation, synthetic data over in ChatGPT. I use Gemini a little bit more for research, although I like Perplexity for that too. So it just varies, and every single week my answer is a little bit different.
I've got nothing new to add. Honestly, that checks out, except I've been really enjoying deep research from OpenAI as well.
Nice.
Yeah, nothing much to add other than it's really fun to play around with all of them. And you might just find, like, I think oftentimes it comes down to a little bit of personal preference. And, for me, it's just asking myself, like, did this solve the problem I needed to solve? And whether or not another model might have been a little bit better, doesn't matter if I got what I needed out of it. When I'm thinking about like a Zap and using AI in a Zap, I find that the default model that we use in AI by Zapier is OpenAI's GPT-4o Mini. And for most things, that's actually really good for things like extracting data, structured data out of free text or basic categorization. A lot of those sorts of utility functions that are useful in Zaps, I find that model works great. If you needed something that did more maybe advanced reasoning or dealing with more complex scenarios, you might find that one of the other models like O3 might be better, but those can also be slower and you can run into issues with that. So it really just depends on the need and your preference.
Yeah. That's really helpful. Thanks, all. Okay, we've got another question from AMC. How is AI agents different from agents MCP? And this is a good opportunity to talk about kind of Zapier agents as a end user sort of application versus MCP for developers.
Absolutely. So the answer is our Zapier MCP product and our agents product are the same underlying architecture. They're the same technology. And so we have the MCP is a way that you can take what agents can do to other product surface areas. And you can take the same guessing pipelines and the same runtime field mapping capabilities to other products that you might want to take. And it's really designed for developers to be able to deploy in the applications like Cursor or Windsurf, or you can also use it with Claude, things like that. The Zapier agent product is our first party product that uses the same technology, the same infrastructure, the same stack to give anyone access without having to set up an instance, without having to do any hosting, without having to use any API keys, and just sign in and start typing natural language for what you want to see happen. So we think about the agent product is really targeting the end user who wants to create an agent today. And the MCP tool is more like a toolkit that you can take with you to other places and like tinker and mix and match and do things like that. But again, they are the same technology. And so it's really a matter of whether you want a place that's custom built and ready to go, or whether you want to go kind of build your own home.
Awesome. We are almost at time, folks. So I'm going to wrap up our Q&A there. Thank you so much to our speakers. And to wrap us up, reminder that we've got another AI webinar happening at the end of the month featuring Marcus Sato from remote.com. So go check that out. And in a moment, you are going to see a poll pop up on your screen asking you how we did today. So would love to hear your feedback. Hope you took away something valuable. But thank you so much for taking the time today to join us and jam on all things AI. Thank you to all our speakers, and thanks everyone for attending. Have a great day and see you next time.